Pokemon was one of my favorite franchises growing up. I loved everything, from the show, to the cards, to the topic of this video, the games. With Pokemon Black and White in particular being some of the first games I've ever owned and beat to completion. It was just such a cool world to explore and find cool things. Catch new Pokemon, win battles, good music, it had it all. With Pokemon Black and White 2 coming out not long afterwards, I fell in love again, with those two still being my favorite games in the entire franchise. And I was excited to see what would come next. But then I saw the commercials for the next games in the series, Pokemon X and Y, and little me was turned off immediately by change. I saw the new 3D models and thought, oh, that's ugly. And I saw the new Pokemon and thought, oh, they look dumb. And I thought to myself, oh well, I guess Pokemon will never reach the levels of cool that Black and White achieved, and moved on to play cool, epic games like Club Penguin. Then for my birthday, my grandma got me one of those Pokemon games you love so much. Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. I thought to myself, I'll play it. I mean, I might as well give it. And just like that, I was sold. I was back, baby! Alpha Sapphire was such a great game, and it reminded me how good the series could be. Later followed up by Sun and Moon, which in my opinion is still the best series of games in the franchise. To this day, I still continue to buy the games and see what's new in the world of Pokemon. However, something has always haunted me in the back of my mind. I've gone back and played a ton of the other games throughout the years, in one way, shape, and form. I've been to every region and seen every Pokemon, except one, Pokemon X and Y. The last Infinity Stone I need to truly say I'm the very best, like no one ever was. So I got myself a copy of Y, because I like Yveltal more than 30th, and began my adventure. So I start the game and meet the professor who looks like that one teacher you had, that would always try to play hacky sack with you, but you never fully trust enough to play. He introduces me to the world, and I pick my hair color, and I name myself after my favorite Fortnite dev. Then begin my adventure. After getting dressed and going downstairs to hang with my hot mom, she tells me to go outside and touch some grass. There I immediately meet my neighbors, so I guess we're just invading my private property. I meet Serena and Shauna, who tell me that the old hacky sack teacher wants to meet 5 kids in private. They tell me to meet them in the next town over, which is also the moment I decide to take in the game and start to really appreciate the soundtrack. I then meet the rest of the gang, and I quickly learn a small flaw of this game. The cast. Pokemon usually only has a small ensemble cast, but this one has by far the biggest, giving you 4 freaking partners that I have to pretend to care about. And even out of those, there's only like a handful that are worth any salt anyway. And those guys mostly stay to themselves. Like in the original Black and White games, for example, they all kind of balance each other out. You got Anne, who's the main antagonist, Sharon, who's like the hard rival, and Bianca, who's the easy rival. This game really has no synergy with the rivals. You got Tierno, who's fat, this frickin' dork, who only exists to remind you to fill the Pokédex, then Serena and Shauna, who both serve very similar purposes as battle rivals. Anyway, they asked me to give myself a nickname, because I guess Jeff Kaplan isn't a cool enough name. Then Drazinga picks his first Pokemon. I'll go over my options, but it's really not a choice, as Froakie is my favorite by far. The hard part is the name. I want to be original and choose a creative name, so Kermit is born. I try to leave the Breakfast Club and get on with my adventure, but Serena doesn't let me and challenges me to a battle. I quickly dispatch her, and then I begin my adventure. I then soon after catch my first Pokemon, a Fletchling, to which I give the original name, Birdzinga. We move right along through a forest, battling Pokemon along the way. I then finally arrived at Lumiose City, to which immediately, Tierno mistakes the Pokemon Center for Burger King, and tries to show me how to order a Whopper. I then take a look at one of the most innovative features first introduced in Pokemon X and Y, the clothing options. For the first time in the Pokemon game, you're able to customize your character to your liking, and make something that truly represents your inner self. I then proceed to do nothing with it and move right along. I then challenge the first gym, which is bug type, so thank god I just grabbed freaking Birdzinga, because I immediately destroyed the gym without even sending out Froakie. You could say I squished the competition. Oh, God. I make my way through doing the usual things, then I stumble upon one of the undisputed goats of Pokemon. Yeah, this guy's getting added. So I grab him, and I name him after my favorite Warhammer 40k character. Now with this team of killers, we battle our way to the crown jewel of the game, Lumiose City. Now, I didn't play ZA, but Tarver, my roommate, you know, this guy,
I thought she meant gorilla use.
did. And I watched him play, and it's cool seeing a game from our modern day and age use this game as a foundation for the more modern release. This is definitely one of the coolest places to explore in any Pokemon game. It also helps that it has a banging theme on top of it. I meet up with Professor Hacky Sack, and he challenges me to a battle with the original Kanto starters. I whoop his ass, and in turn, he lets me take one. Now my go-to is usually Charmander, but because I already have a Fire Flying type, and I use Charizard when I play Let's Go, I wanted to choose one of the other two. But Charmander is still my favorite, so I still need to find a compromise. There we go. I go downstairs and meet this guy named Lysander, who, as you can tell from his appearance, is a one-time background character who will never be relevant again. I hit the town and see the sights, and then run into Lysander again immediately after I just told you he won't be relevant again. He then starts talking like that one pro-Z Devon.
This world is imperfect.
What?
If only I could wipe away the impurities.
Is anybody else listening to
And
this?
make it as beautiful as me.
I move along towards the next gym and stumble into a wild Lucario, who I soon learn is owned by the gym leader Karina. Which after talking to Karina, Lucario stares at me. Longingly. So we make our way through battling trainers along the way, to which both Kermit and Berzinga both evolve. I even get a chance to beat this fat ass up again. Along the way, I meet this guy who just gives me land and trusts me to run his property from now on. Like, bro, I know you have a daughter, how you gonna make money? Whatever. I never went back, so I guess his farm just died out. Holy shit, it's Tierno. I arrive at this palace, and the owner tells me that if I help him find his lost Furfro, he can give us a flute that'll help us wake up Tierno. I get the flute after taking way too long chasing Furfro, and then watch a fireworks show with Serena.
I eat dirt.
We wake up and catch Tierno and move along. I will name you... Chudzilla. After moving through about 2 towns which had literally nothing in them, we meet a scientist who says we need to find his friend who can resurrect fossils for us, which is cool. So we make our way and I find a Sandile, who I catch named El Chumpo. We arrive at this cave and run into this guy wearing all red, who is no relation to Lysander. He says he's part of Team Flare and is looking for the scientist, and well, I'd like to share, so I eviscerate him. I then find the scientist who didn't know this crime gang was after him, which is actually pretty funny. And in turn, he gives me the Tyrant fossil, to which I then use the Tyrant fossil to turn the Tyrant fossil into Tyrant. He doesn't give me an option to nickname him, so he's just Tyrant. I make way and find an aquarium, which is now a good time to say this game has really cool set pieces. Like this aquarium, which is just here, because it'd be cool to have an aquarium here. And I love when games do small stuff like that. It really helps with the overall world building. We then arrive at the second gym, which... rock climbing mentioned! Difficulty 3 climbers! Rise up! But this is where I'm going to bring in a bit of criticism. One thing this game does pretty poorly is pacing. Everything feels pretty drawn out, like, I'm finding the second gym, and this is the 3rd hour of the game, and 8 minutes into the video. And not to spoil the end, but I then go and kind of speed on a lot of the gyms later. You'll see what I mean. Anyway, Kermit and Charmander have no problems with the gym, and make it a breeze. So gym badge number 2, down and out. We head on over to these rocks, and run into Team Flare again, talking about how they're full of life energy, and to claim the power of the stone, you must lose that which you love. So, I kick their butts and send them packing. Not before I head back to town and follow around this guy, who just keeps vague posting about the climax of the game. On my way out of the town though, I find Karina again, who then challenges me to a battle, to which I quickly restore. So, do I like, get the gym badge now, or... Nope. Okay. She says meet me for an official battle at Lumiose City, so I make my way over. I stumble around Reflection Cave, which feels like a lifetime, but eventually I make it there. Once I arrive, Snorlax and Trevor tell me about someone called the Mega Evolution Guru, who I can only assume specializes in EV training and EV training accessories. After taking an awesome photo and not tipping the photographer, I make my way in and find the guru all alone in his bedroom with Karina, who is 15 years old. The rest of the gang arrives and we get an exposition dump of how Megastones work, to which I then have to destroy Serena to get my stone. But before I can officially get my stone, I still need to beat Karina in a gym. And unfortunately for her, she's a fighting type gym leader, and I have a flying type named Birdzinga. So another easy layup for me. But I guess she likes losing, because she says I need to beat her again, but back at the tower again, so I can officially get my Mega Stone. So I haul my ass back up the tower. Bro, I'm about to push you off, I swear to God. Then another Lucario, who had a little crush on me apparently, wants to join my team and be the first Pokemon I Mega Evolve. Dude, you must be like the worst Pokemon trainer of all time, like holy. So, I Mega Evolve, we have a Mega Lucario battle. And Lucario freaking faints! I've been sleeping this game pretty hard so far, so losing finally to a Pokemon I just got is crazy. I know just what to do with you. There we go. And this is where the game really starts to get its stride, so I apologize if the next few minutes feel repetitive. But that's the game's fault, not mine. We quickly go to the next town, and Berzinga makes quick work of the gym leader. Then we go through this desert, and these people are saying how Team Flare is stealing all the electricity to fuel something nefarious. Ooh, look out, they're gonna do something! So, I demolish them and move on. And then return to Lumiose City, where I find... things I know from the show! This reference is so good I could die! I can't wait for you two to be such a crucial part of the rest of the game. I then beat Clement and never saw him again. I then had another meeting with Lysander so I could be reminded how much everyone is an idiot for not seeing how evil he is. And then the gang gets back together, we make our way through the spooky forest, ooh. Then we go to the spooky shack where people go missing. And guys, I'm not lying to y'all, this is probably the funniest moment in Pokemon for me. So basically, we entered some house, and we get some horrifying story about someone who entered a house and sees a group of faceless men. Look, I know it's not that scary, but, you know, it's Pokemon universe. Like, this is pretty high bar stuff here. And then at the end, the guy telling the story just asked us to tip him, because I've been getting asked by NPCs all game to tip them. I don't know why, but that just broke me. Like, it's not even that funny. I then arrive at Lumiose City. Look, I've sleeped every battle up to this point, except one. So this really shouldn't be that much of a... Okay, so... Gale Proof is my strongest Pokemon, and we barely scraped by the first Goon. So I went back and checked all the stores, and I found a Poison-type move to get to Yellow Proof. And the moment I found one... another gym badge to the list. I then hear that Team Flare is causing mayhem over the Pokeball factory. They're apparently trying to destroy the economy by making exclusively Master Balls or something. So after clearing them out, because of course I do, the owner offers me a choice and gratitude. A Master Ball, capable of catching anything first try, or a Big Nugget, which is about $20,000. So, 20,000 Hyper Potions. Yeah, I'll take the Master Ball, thanks. I stop and treat myself to a coffee at a cafe, and carry on to Dandemil Town. Once I get there, I learn that a Mama Snow that provides their plumbing or something isn't responding to his MySpace page messages. So, I do what I do best, and go there, find Team Flare, who's trying to download his data, and kick their asses. I then go check out Anastar City, famous for its big rock. Then I go fight the Psychic Gym, and same story as the rest, I obliterate him. But before I can continue, I get an email from Lysander who says, I am so evil and villainous, ha 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 ha. So, we go back to Lumiose and lay siege to his evil coffee shop. He has this evil underground layer directly under it, so we make our way through and keep forgetting what portals go where, so that takes a while. And then go to the basement and meet this really tall dude who tells us the story, which is definitely, totally, absolutely not about himself. It's about how he made the Pokemon equivalent to the atomic bomb, and killed a ton of Pokemon and people with it. So, we chase after King Dragon and beat up his scientist, who I only remember because he's like the final battle of that arc of the anime for some reason. He then gives you a choice, push the correct button, and they don't kill everyone. So, I take another shot, and I get it right. He can't fire the weapon. Well, then he just does anyway, so that was pointless. I didn't know this was made by frickin' Telltale. So we see this cutscene of those rocks from earlier actually being the top of the super weapon, and that Team Flare made a giant laboratory underneath it. How did no one see them construct this? Me and Shauna head over, and Lysander says how there is too many resources and needs to eliminate half of life, so the other half can thrive. I don't know why he's Thanos now, that was not his motivation earlier, but whatever. So we once again fight through his laboratory, which actually takes a while, because he has a ton of goons. And when we get to the bottom, we find the legendary Yveltal. He's just some sort of Y Pokemon. So we fight it, and I almost kill it immediately. I get it just low enough to put it to sleep and to snag it in an Ultra Ball, and then give it a title worthy of its legendary status. And then Lysander appears, looking like Prof. Ock for Invincible, and challenges me to one final battle, to which using the power of Yveltal, the god of death, win the battle. He then activates the weapon on himself, I guess, because he sucks at battling. He then blows himself and the rest of the team flare up, and they are not my problem anymore, so I head back to Anastar and continue my journey. Along the way, I have one more battle with Serena, Sir Trunzelot, and Trevor, where they finally realize there are levels to this, and leave me alone. We finally arrive at Snowbell City, and the gym leader is apparently not home. He's out in the woods doing crime, I guess. So I follow the trail and arrive at a place called Pokémon Village, which has a banging theme. So, we send him back to the gym, to which I then proceed to destroy him, and finally, we have them all. That leaves one more challenge, the Elite Four. Let's do it. We head down Victory Road, which is as long and grueling of a task as it always is, then fight Serena one more time, but she just has to stop, and we finally arrive to the Elite Four. So I enter, and this is definitely one of the easiest Elite Fours I've ever played against. The main thing that really pogged me out was the holy poop Smash Bros reference, but besides that, it was nothing crazy. The champion, however, that was a different story. The game finally threw me a curveball and hit me with a battle that was actually hard. Dianthy was not an easy battle, forcing me to sacrifice a lot of my team. But despite it all, we did it. I beat Dianthy and became the Kalos champion. Seeing all the Pokemon on my team reminded me of the journey I went on and how much the team has grown. But if that's not why this series is great, I don't know what is. Dianthy throws us a big parade to celebrate, and that is Pokemon Y. So yeah, I gotta say, I really enjoyed the game. This is definitely in the upper echelon of titles. From Mega Evolution to the new Pokemon, to the map design, and especially the music. I gotta say, this is a top 5 game for me. Just under OS. I can't believe I missed out on it when... Oh, the game wants to fight? Okay. Oh well, that sucks. You kind of ruined this whole parade for me. Oh hey, it's Floette. There's a bit of a cliffhanger. I wish there was a game where I can see what they are up to now. Oh shiggy, you dog!